Alright, what's up YouTube? I thought I was live and I was talking to myself, evidently. So we'll try this again. Alright. So start over here. I'm preparing for the new week, so I always start on the weekly chart, but before that I always look at the news. Go to Forex Factory. I've already done it, so no news Monday, bank holiday Tuesday, no news Wednesday. There's news Thursday and Friday, but the time is not published yet. That don't mean Trump can't get on there and say something or something happens in the world, so you always got to stay kind of, keen to that. But first and foremost, I am checking Forex Factory for Rip Folder News just to know when that's going to, be a thing. So you can ask if you want to ask a question, as long as it pertains to trading or just about your life or your journey or whatever is fine, as long as it's constructive and could help somebody. So we'll do that. Dogs. All messages. Okay. It's not giving me an option to send a message, so hopefully I see your message if you send one, but I'll make this short and sweet unless we get some people in here that want to talk some market talk. If not, it's fine. Just gonna start doing stuff like this. So go to Forex Factory, check the news. Alright, we're on the weekly chart. NASDAQ. We are still respecting the imbalance on the weekly. We went, we went through it, but we closed inside of it. So just note, that, and the opening price, this down close candle had a run up. So the opening price there right at 25,000. We come down through it, but not, we didn't get the mean threshold of it, which would, be somewhere around, 600. So we're in that. So I've got last week's or this current week high and low notated. I don't put all that on my chart, but I have the levels, wrote down. Just trying to tell a story here. We took out the last 2 weeks lows. Okay, we're inside of a weekly fair value gap. Okay, daily time frame. I'll note for the new week's trading, I will note last week's high, last week's low, or the daily high, daily low, previous daily high, previous daily low. I'll have those levels. I'll know what they are. I don't have to write them on the chart. See how we closed below it yesterday. I thought we might make a play up in it before going down, but we didn't. It just sold off, which is fine. We took out a swing point here, but we didn't displace through this swing low. We just kind of manipulated these lows. So if we continue through, it's fine, but this is just what I'm noticing. I use manipulation versus displacement, meaning we didn't really displace through this low. We just kind of manipulated the low and then, rebounded. But I will note this up here. We do have a daily SIBI here if we get in this area to be looking. And as you can see, we've got this way down here. We don't have any bearish PD arrays on the weekly. Um, we're just been at all-time highs, then we sold off quite a bit. So I'll go to a 4-hour and look. Same way here, we kind of manipulated the swing point while respecting let's see here. What's the close on this? 227.25. Close on this 218. So we definitely closed on the 4-hour above this. So that's telling me that we got to see. We always got to see how we open up, on Sunday, Monday. But before we go, I mean, we could just shoot right up. But if we come down, so we've inverted this. So I'd like to see like a play down before we go up and take out, these equal highs here, and then test these, PD rays here. It's just kind of giving you how I look at it from a top-down, perspective. We're real bullish coming up through here. Right now we're in an hourly fair value gap, so I see some kind of rejection down before going higher. May not play that way. Like I said, it's all about how we open up and how we're looking. I wouldn't expect too much. You may see a big opening gap, you may not. It's a holiday week, but you never know. I'm not trying to guess none of that. Just kind of see what's going on. The trade I would have took today would have been after we rebounded. We're respecting bullish order flow, respecting, okay, we're above VWAP. We've inverted this over here while we made a new one close to VWAP. I would have been this would have been a trade I'd want to take if I was, able to trade today, which I'm not. I locked myself out, and I will show you some of what I'm working with now. We don't have any chat, no questions yet, so this may be short and sweet and to the point. Right now I've got 4 accounts, got them linked together. I've got 2 that haven't had anything, or that's new. And I've got this one I took 2 payouts on, 58%. This one I took 1 payout on, they're about 60%. I usually get about a 1.5, anywhere from 1.25 to 1.5. That's what we're, been averaging. I've showed some of this, so I'm just going to scroll kind of quick. This was last month's trading. Not the best, not the worst, but we'll definitely take it. And this was Forex Factory. I already looked at that. What's that bags? So I'm just trying to, my goal is to be consistent, be disciplined, to stack winning days, to give myself a little breathing room before I take a payout, things like that. So I'll kind of scroll back, give you an idea of kind of what I'm looking to see. Wednesday, see if we can get a Asia session. Okay, yeah, this would have been my time window here. We've got a small gap here, close to VWAP. It's basically what I'm doing, man, is I'm trying to find a PD array. I'm trying to find the direction. That's why I'm kind of using this VWAP as. If we're below it, I want to take a sell off of it. If I'm above it, I want to take a bounce off of it. And I'm trying to find the direction for the, the hourly or whatever, I'm trading. I usually take my execution's on the 1 minute, but I'm trying to get that 30-minute to an hour impulse. That's what I'm trying to really catch. And then if it turns into a 4 hour, I'll leave a runner on. But you can see right here, Wednesday. This was perfect. I didn't trade, no. I wish I did. But right here, Wednesday the 5th. Yeah, that was just the other day. I didn't trade, no. I wish I did. We've got accumulation, manipulation, distribution. And when I see that, okay, I'm waiting for this to fail. It failed right here. And then, I'm waiting for it to kind of come up and test the VWAP and then bounce off. 725, that's a big move. Gosh, that's 60 points right there. Then we come up again, close to VWAP before we make a lower low. And, I've just been watching this VWAP, man, and there's a lot of displacement around it, whether it go be down or up, as you can see here, the morning session, 9:10. We accumulate, kind of go up, and then whoa, we're selling off, and right here at the VWAP inside of a PD array, boom, goes from 721 right at 10 o'clock. That's 300 points. Gee whiz, what was I doing? Oh, I was working at the post office. That was what I was doing. Oh, hey, what's up, bro? $250 per trade is what I usually set it on, and I'm usually trading. I'll show you what I set my daily loss at 385, liquidate and block. Just because when I lose, I get impulsive, and this keeps me from losing everything, man. I wish I was better with that, and I'm trying to be, but risk settings. Here we go. I just need to scroll up. That's what it is. Well, maybe not. Oh, this is follower. My bad. Leader. Right here, 250,000. I normally I'll go with it's 125 every contract. So that's going to be if I go in with 20 or 2 minis, 20 micros. If I go in with 10, I'll adjust this down. Like if I go in with one contract, you going like 6 points and a tick per contract. So that's basically what I'm doing there. But a lot of times I end up with the full 20 on. Like I'll start out with 15, or a lot of times I do just 20 right out the gate. But sometimes I'll do 10, just kind of depending on the market conditions. Like if we're what we're doing. How'd you trade last week? You have any? You got any funded accounts or on demo, or how? What's going on your way? I've got 2 accounts. One of them I got 2 payouts. The other one I just got 1. And then I added 2 accounts this week. I didn't trade non-farm payroll, but I did pass 2 new ones. So I've got 2 new ones, but I don't have a lot of drawdown on these. I got like 880 and 1259 left on that. And I'm not trying to get a fifth one until I get another payout. So that's kind of what I'm working with. I give myself like so much money out of the payout to reinvest back in it, and I actually went over like $60, so which is okay. But yeah, I'm really trying to focus on making sure I'm taking my setup like a Power 3 or OTE, and I like below VWAP. I'm trying to bounce, I'm trying to sell off of it, or I'm trying to buy the bounce off of it, and then go to break even. Usually 1 to 1. 1 to 1, I go break even. 1 to 2, kind of see, if the market's jumping during Asia, like if it's running good, I'll try to get a 1 to 3. But a lot of times at that 1 to 2, man, I cut most of it off just to try to secure it, because it's toast them 2K on it. That's good, bro. The macro, I like to, but it don't have to be, man. But if I was doing that, and I was doing real good with it. Um, but as I started that last quarter, I did so bad, and I done a lot of not really back testing, but yeah, I guess you would call it back testing. Just looking at old data, looking at a lot of it does happen at that I usually give it 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after, so that 6:45 to 7:15 or 7:45 to 8:15, that is probably 80 to 90% of my trades. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'll have a few that's not like that, but usually that's what I'm doing, is 15 minutes before to 15 minutes after the hour, messing with that. So how close are you to a payout then? If you're up 2K on it, 50K Express, you should be. Are you close to a payout, or? I think we all can. Yeah, man, it was. That's why. And oddly enough, the way I found it was I was just on a break at work, and I'm always trying to look at stuff, man. And old Patrick Whelan, the guy that hates ICT, or they have their banter. I don't think they hate each other, but they always talk about each other, get each other riled up, whatever you want to call it. But I just watched this video on VWAP, and it made a lot of sense. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, man. Like, especially during Asia. Good job, bro. Um, especially during Asia. Sometimes you can catch that big move, like the new week. Let's see if I can find one. Like the new week opening gap. if it hasn't been filled yet. Most of the time it gets filled during like a New York Open or the evening session. But that week it filled um, during Asia, and I saw it come to 25,000. See right here, this new week opening gap. When did it fill this week? It filled usually all the way at the end of the week, Thursday. Okay, the week prior it didn't. I caught that, and it was right. No, where was it? No, sorry. It was the week prior to this. Okay. It was right. No, I'm tripping again. Yeah, it was right up here. Yeah, right here. 8:30. This was the runner that made me a fortune, and you can see it filled the gap in. We had the contract or whatever changed, and we had this big new week opening gap, and it basically filled here, but I got in um, right in this wick, and the only reason I did, or I got in at 25,000, no, it wasn't in this wick. I'll have to look at my entry on this. I can't remember because it was against the VWAP. But what I saw was this a big accumulation. Big. I mean, these are 15-minute candles. During Asia, it starts here. Accumulation, manipulation. And I was like, all right, if we don't, I had a real tight stop. It was on this high right here. And I was in this wick. And I was looking for it to fill in this gap. And I was like, well, at least below, when it got below this accumulation, I took a lot of it off, but I left 5 running, and it ran. Where did I get out at? I woke up to pee or something, and it was already done. I may have set it. I should have set it all the way down to the gap, but I didn't. But anyway, that was the big trade I took. But basically, the 1 hour, back to it. I'm sorry, bro. Is I kind of use the 1 hour as the higher time frame on Asia, and right here I saw this big displacement down, and I saw this rejection right here off this wick. I thought we could have went higher, but we didn't. And the other thing was this round logical level of 25,000 or whatever, and I was like, screw it, just I had a real tight stop and went with it. But like looking at the hour, kind of what I look at. Try to find an Asia session here. I kind of look like, see this, I would say, okay, previous session high is up here, or the afternoon session high is here, low is here. We displaced through it, leaving a fair value gap. Right, 6 o'clock opens up into it. 7 o'clock. Are we going to respect that gap? If I think I'm going to respect that gap, I think it's going to at least break this swing low. So that would be like my higher time frame trade idea there. But I would refine it. I don't take entries on the hour, but that's kind of how I use the hourly too. We displace through it, come back up, or we're going to go back down or are we gonna, just to find direction. I want to try to get in line with the next hourly impulse, whether it be going down or, if we're going up. But I generally do a lot of work on the 5 minute. I usually do the entry on the 1 minute though, most of the time, being honest with you. Um, but power 3 a lot into a PD array, and then I'll try to wait for it to, break below VWAP, and then come up and retest it. Or if we're bullish, the other way. But see, like right here would be a good one. We have a 5 minute fair value gap here. We haven't inverted it. It's actually kind of perfect delivery. It's close to VWAP. It's under it, so I would, take a sell here. Stop would be above here, so we would be risking like 713, 12 points. So I would use 10 micro. I would use one contract there, so that'd be my $250. If I can get a tighter stop, is where I'd go in 20 right off the bat. So that's kind of how I play with the 10 to 20 micros. Is how big's my stop loss? Okay, if it's got to be 8 points, I can do 15. If it's got to be 12 points, it's got to be 10 micros. If it can be 6 points or less, I use 20. It's kind of how I, do that. But no, I like it though. For real. Basically what I'm entering on, dude, is as I'm looking at the hourly, if I can make a case for the, say it's 6:45, we're getting ready to start the 7 o'clock candle, kind of wait for it to print, go up in a PD array around a VWAP. It don't have to have power 3 like this accumulation, manipulation, distribution. It always don't do that. Every time you see an accumulation, you don't see a power 3, but a lot of times it does, man. But I really do like seeing the power 3. That makes it a lot more easier when I have something mapped out and I'm like, okay, we're accumulating. I'd like to see it manipulate into this area, and that would be my key level. And usually when I'm looking at it like that, I mean, I'm really, you're on point with it, because you're like, okay, we're accumulating. I want to see it manipulate here in this area, and if it does, I'm going to pull the trigger thinking that it's going to distribute down. It don't mean you're going to be right. I'm going to be wrong a lot, but as long as I'm right a few more times than I'm wrong, and I can control my downside, that's why I liquidate and block after $385. Should be able to make some daggone money, you know what I mean? But yeah, AMD, OTE, I always enter on a fair value gap. That's the thing. Fair value gap, under VWAP or over VWAP, buying or selling. But I always want to enter in a fair value gap, whether it be a 1 minute, a 5 minute, a 15 minute, 1, 5, 15, 30, hour, 4 hour, whatever. But most time I like to see, I have to be in a fair value gap somewhere. That's why I have this filter on TradingView, that it kind of helps me with the gaps. Whatever time frame you're on, it prints them for me, which I still look, because sometimes they don't get it all right. But I'm using fair value gaps to. I love seeing an inversion on a 1 minute. Like say we have a power three, we accumulate, we manipulate up, and then we start distributing, coming back down, and that last bullish fair value gap gets inverted, and then we test that inverted area. Is what I like seeing. I like seeing the inversion, and I like us to make, whatever happens on the buy side of the curve, a lot of times happens on the sell side of the curve. So if we got a big fair value gap, a bullish one here, I like seeing it get ran through, get inverted, and make a new one. And then once it comes up and tests that area, that's gold to me. Yeah, good, man. I'm glad I could help, bro. I gotta start live streaming some. Yeah, it does me too, man. That's why I kind of added VWAP too, because it kind of helps me. Because if we're way above VWAP and we make a, maybe we invert something and make a bearish fair value gap. Maybe I don't want to take that first one because we're way above VWAP. We could just keep going, and that's where a lot of times I get messed up is taking that first inversion, and it's on a 1 minute, but we're in consequent encroachment of a 5 or a 15, and the higher time frame wins. But I get so locked in that 1 minute sometimes, and then I think the 1 minute is gonna, override the 5, 15, or 30 or whatever. So that's kind of why I've done the VWAP to make. It's kind of like my midnight open. It's kind of how I use the VWAP under it, trying to sell above it, trying to a continuation off of it one way or another. It's helped me cut out a lot of trades. Yeah, I need to. Yeah, I may do it like this where I don't show my camera because, as you can see in my videos, my background's not very good. I'm in a basement, which we got a nice house. I just haven't finished the room, but it's like concrete walls, and there's a fan on a stand. I gotta get things a little better organized. But yeah, I definitely need to start doing that for sure. Even if it's just one viewer like you, man, I don't care. I just need to be consistent with it and get it so we can get the goals to get monetized on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all that. So I can make enough money from that to where I could, do it full time, which I know that don't happen overnight. And I've got a decent job, and I'm thankful for it and all that. I'm not trying to say that. That's just, that's the end goal, is to be able to do stuff like that. But I know if an old country boy like me, who's just been trading a couple years, can make a little money on here, I believe anybody can if they just put in the work, man. Because I'm not the smartest guy by no means. I've just asked God to, to help me, guide me, and help me, figure something out that works for me and my personality. Alright, you too, man. Appreciate you. I'll probably end this anyway, so anytime, bro. Anytime. I'll try to do this more often. Good luck next week, my friend. Get you a payout. Let me know.